Do you know that feeling that you get when you feel like overexposed? Maybe because someone asked you too personal of a question and you answered even when you didn't want to, or someone was encroaching in your personal space and you didn't know how to tell them to back off or to not get so close to you. Or let's say someone's reaching for a hug and you really don't want to give them that hug, but you do it anyway. I know that feeling. You are entitled to decide what information it is that you want to share. You're entitled to decide if you want someone in your bubble or not. That is your prerogative, okay? And because that's your prerogative, today I'm going to show you how to put up boundaries, which in turn teaches people what works for you and what doesn't. We teach people what our boundaries are, but you just have to know how to speak up. And today I'm going to show you how to do that in a way that tells people how to indirectly ease up off those nosy questions or please get out of my personal space. I know this feeling all too well because I lacked boundaries, but I also lacked a ready to use script that helped me share what it was that I wanted to share, not giving up information just because somebody asked. And that looks like many things. It looks like personal questions like, what's your relationship status? How old are you? Where do you work? All these questions that people are entitled to ask you, you do not have to tell them. So today I'm sharing my favorite lines and my favorite methods that I like to use anytime I feel like I might overshare or someone's asking too personal of a question. So stick around so you can use these easy one-liners as well. And you can leave a gathering, networking party, any type of event feeling like you stood your ground, you did what worked for you, and you can walk away feeling good about yourself and not that yucky overexposed feeling, especially if you're a private person like me, okay? Welcome or welcome back to Soulspiration by Sadiqa. I'm Sadiqa, and I make videos for women like you and me who want to gain a true sense of self worth, who want to bask in their social confidence, and ultimately release their fear of being seen so they can go after what it is that their heart desires. If that sounds like you are in the right place. I want to thank you in advance for liking this video and for subscribing and joining the Soul Tribe where we what? Step out of the matrix and honey into our divinity. All right, let's get into it. It says at the end of the day, you get to decide what you want to share. That is your prerogative, okay? You get to decide what you want to reveal. So let's take, and if you see me with my laptop, it's because I got my personal notes here. These are all my personal notes, okay? Things that I have recalled in my past. I'm thinking this is what happened and this is what I do so that you can do the same thing. Let's take personal questions, for example. This is something that I have encountered many, many times in my life. It seems like people just have this interest to figure out like what you've got going on, who are you, especially when they just met you. And I think there should be a certain etiquette that people operate in, but not a lot of people do that. So when they don't do that, this is what you say. I'll give you an example. Okay, let's say that you're at a party and you meet someone that you just start talking to them one on one. In the beginning, it seems cool, right? Like, okay, this person's cool. But then out of nowhere, they start asking like really personal questions. Like, the one that I don't really feel comfortable with is people asking what company I work for and where I work. I find that a little too invasive. And I find it invasive because I just met you. So if someone ever asks you something that's personal, like, where do you live or where do you work? This is how I respond to the where do you work question. And personally, I'm giving you permission to do one of these three things personally. Okay. Number one, lie, make it up. Because the reality is that the chances of you actually seeing this person again is very slim. And if you think about it, why give out personal information to people that you're never going to see again? It doesn't make any sense, right? So lie. Yeah, lie. The second thing I like to say when people ask me when people ask me, where do you work? I usually say, I'm a contractor. I would say, I'm a contractor and I go wherever people need me in this specific industry. So when I was working in recruiting and in the HR world, I said, yeah, I work as a contractor. It's nice because I get to work for different types of corporations and do different types of recruiting. I just go where I'm needed. And they would never inquire any further because what else could they ask? After those two, they usually leave it alone. It leaves less room for them to continue to be invasive. The third thing I like to do is just simply respond with the industry. So I'll say, if they say, "Where do you work?" I'll say, "Oh, I work in the finance industry." And that will require them to be nosy again, and they'll hear themselves being nosy, right? So if you answer what the industry versus the company, they'll be like, "Yeah, but what company?" And some people will push it there. Some people will really take it there. And that's when I just respond back with the finance industry. And I just look at them. And now you're both just sitting there in silence. What you can also do here is ask them, "What industry do you work in?" So now you're setting the tone of, let's not ask each other what company we work for. Let's ask each other what industry we work in. So now you're saying, stop being nosy to me, and I'm not interested in being nosy with you. You see? What's interesting too is that if you ask them the question back, "Where do you work?" it would be interesting to see if they even answer the question, because sometimes people don't want to reveal things about themselves. They just want to get information about you. And I find that a little conniving. I don't like that. That personally rubs me the wrong way. So this is why I've learned to figure out what types of questions am I willing to answer when I notice that people are not wanting to share information about themselves. To give you a personal example of what this looked like, I was in a business pack maybe a couple years ago that I would go to networking events pretty often. And one time I went to this event, there was a group of people that were standing kind of off to the side. And these are people I had met before. I noticed there was someone there that I'd never met before, but the rest of the people I knew. So I went over there to just say hello. And the minute I stepped foot over there, I didn't even get both of my feet in front of the circle that they were standing in yet before the guy goes, "Hi, what do you do?" I kid you not. It was the strangest thing in the world. And I just remember thinking, "Are you going to ask me my name? Like, hi, what do you do? Like, are you good?" It was so weird. And everyone in the circle was like, just looking at me. And I just responded. And I thought, what a very invasive thing to do before you even let me be a human first, right? And I just responded, "I work in recruiting." And I thought I didn't have to answer that question. Like I could have been like, "Hi, and you are," and reached for a handshake, because you don't get to start inquiring and prying about information about me before you even get to ask me my name, how long I've been in this business pack for. There's a certain etiquette that warrants certain type of information. And I think when you keep that in the back of your mind, you realize you don't owe anybody anything. Okay. I hope you guys are taking notes. Write that down. Write that down. Okay. Because these are questions that come up all the time. These are things that are going to keep showing up often in your life. And until you solidify the way you're going to respond to things, you're going to keep walking away feeling like you overshared. Okay. So take notes, write these things down. This is real stuff. All right, let's get into like not personal questions, but like personal information, like phone numbers. This can happen with networking and people who like want to potentially date you. Phone numbers. Okay, if you're kind of worried about giving out your phone number,
Can I please receive the secret code that if entered telephonically, it will patch me through to you, which means it'll be your beautiful ass number? No. Could I have it? No, come on.
I have a solution for you. Maybe you've heard this before, maybe you haven't. Before I share it though, I'll tell you what happened. I was at a birthday dinner with a friend who invited me to their birthday dinner. And after dinner, we kind of went where we were sitting over to like the bar area. And this guy comes up and he immediately kind of walks over to me and he looks at me and I'm like, what is going on? Like he's staring at me like this. And he like immediately like directs his attention to the girl I was talking to. It was the strangest thing I'd ever seen. And I thought, okay. And then he goes, "Hey, he's talking to her. Hey, I'm John. I'm making this name up. And I just think you're really pretty. I just wanted to see if I can get your phone number." And she was like, um, "Okay." So she just like gives him her phone number. But I could tell it was just too quick and she was uncomfortable with it. And I thought, at this point, I already knew what I would have done. And I'm going to share that with you right now. After that interaction was over, I said, "Girl, when guys ask for your phone number like that quickly, you don't really have any time to decide whether or not you want to give your phone number out. So you can do one of two things. You can say, hey, like maybe by the end of the night, if we get to talk some more. But when they immediately ask for your phone number, you do not have to give that out. So your response can be maybe if we keep talking for the rest of the night and I get to know you a little bit more, we can exchange information. Or you can say, I'll take your phone number. Honestly, he should be offering his phone number because I feel like guys today recognize that women don't really want to give out their number like that, especially to someone they just met. But if he's not offering that, this is where you put up your boundary and let him know what works for you. And that's the point of this video. But what I ended up telling her is, girl, you need to get a Google Voice or a Text Now number. I've been using this number for years. So even if I am talking to a guy and he asks for my number, I just give him my Text Now number, my Google Voice number, because I'm not giving you the digits that telephonically connect me to the rest of my information that you can find online. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing that. And you don't have to either. So, download a free texting app and give him that number. And when I shared that with her, she had this look on her face like she had just never thought of that before. And I thought, I think I really just helped this girl. Like, this is going to be her new norm. And she was like, "Oh my God, why didn't I think of that?" And she was like, I could tell she felt disappointed. Like, I just gave out my information like that. And I thought, it's okay. I used to do the same thing. You don't have to do that. Because number one, think about how that feels. You just met someone like 20 seconds ago and like, can I have your number? And you're just like, I don't know if I want to give you my number yet, right? Like, you're not even giving me time to decide if I want to even talk to you outside of this interaction right now. And they do that on purpose. They don't want you to have time to decide. They just want to get what they want. There's also no guarantee that even after that interaction that they're going to even text you after that. You know what I'm saying? So why give out your information if there's no guarantee they're even going to really hit you up? So now you have my personal information in your hands and there's no confirmation that you're even really going to text me. And even if you do text me, it could fizzle out like a day later. I've had it happen plenty of times before. So this is how I know. And maybe you resonate. You just didn't have an alternative. This is your alternative. You're either saying, maybe if we could talk some more before the end of the night, I'd be happy to give you my phone number. And even then, give him the fake number. Give him the text now number. Give him the Google Voice number. Because that's a test. It's a test to see, how do you text? How do you communicate? What is it that I'm actually giving you access? Who is it that I'm actually giving access to my information? What are you going to do with it? He can't look you up with your fake number. That's for sure. It's not a real number. It's not connected to the rest of your information online. Anyway, you get the point. I also think it's important to decide whether or not you want to do this even with networking, not just dating. So there's people who have Google Voice numbers for their business and it's on their business card. I know from my business card, I have my texting number because that's become my business line. I don't need everyone and their mom having access to my personal cell phone number. I just don't like it, even if it's just a networking event. So when I go to business events, I give out my business card and it does have a number to connect to me. It's not my personal direct line, but it is a way to access me after this event. You owe people nothing more than that. The last tidbit I want to give you guys on setting a boundary is personal space. Personal space and people feeling like they deserve access to touch you and be in your bubble. No. Absolutely not. And I've had to learn this the hard way. I'll give you a quick story. One time I was down at this little restaurant that's actually right up under my complex. And there was a little seating area. And I sat down kind of close to a bar. I feel like all my stories are at bars. Anyway, you get the point. These are just happen to be at bars, okay? I just remember this guy just kind of coming up and just telling me his life story and talking my ear off and just like this close to me. And I think this was about 4 years ago. So I must have been like 27 at the time. And I just remember thinking, why is this man so close to me? Why is he all up in my space like this? Like he was like, yeah, so this is me. Yeah, yeah, so I've been here for like, 5 years or so, and this and that and that and that and this and that. And I was just like, shut up. Get out of my face. Get out of my ear. Buy me a drink or get out of my face. Like that's literally what I felt like. And even then, after that, get away. Because why are you dumping? That's the problem. People just dump. When you don't have a boundary for dumping, they're going to continue to dump. They're going to think, oh, this is a dumping ground. No, you're not a dumping ground. You're not a dumping ground. You're not a dumping ground. It was like he was like sucking my energy. Like he just wanted, and I remember kind of being encouraging to some of the things he was sharing with me. And I just remember kind of feeling like I was being his like mini therapist whilst getting nothing in return, especially for a stranger I just met. And mind you, there's nothing wrong with interacting with people. I interact with people all the time, but there's a certain level of respect and space that you need to have for people. You don't get to be this close to me when you just met me. You don't get to talk my ear off for 10 minutes straight when you just met me. You don't get to tell me your sob story when you just met me. That is dumping. What ended up happening after that was that I just remember him walking away, and I just felt like he just sucked all my energy away. It was really it went on for maybe like 6 minutes straight. And I thought, why did I let that happen for so long? That was crazy. I remember seeing my neighbors in the same area. So I went over there to say hey to them. And I think this guy actually happened to know them too. So they started inviting me to like brunch the next day. Mind you, none of that even happened. They invited me to brunch. And I just remember him like reaching for a hug. Like it was just this weird, like hand way up here for a hug. Mind you, it was the second hug because the first time we were at the bar, he like reached for a hug. And I was just like I was going with everything he wanted. And by the time we made it over to the other group and we were done with that conversation, he reached for another hug and his hand is like way up here. It was so weird. He was like, and I just remember doing it again. And I just thought, ew, what was any of that? Like, why did he feel so entitled to my space like that? Because I clearly was giving off an energy that he had access. When people are invading your personal space, you can simply ask, can I have a little bit of space, please? Can I have some space? Thank you. And that's going to interrupt them talking your ear off, which is probably happening. Or if they're just like too close to you, they'll scoot over. Just say, can I have a little bit of space, please? I feel a little crunched. Thank you. Chatting your ear off, you can say something to the effect of, I really feel for you. I can actually relate to what you're saying. Talk about something else. Let's talk about something positive or something that's going to make you feel good. And you can actually ask them a question to redirect their focus. Not to dismiss what they're saying, but to kind of redirect. Sometimes people just need to be redirected. I've been in situations where I was just going on and on and on about something, and someone like redirected my focus onto something else. I thought, oh, wow, I got redirected. Thank you for that. We're only human. We have those moments. We just need to be redirected. So redirect their attention to something else. Like, oh, what are you drinking? What are you having? You can also excuse yourself. Okay. You can say, oh, I need to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. And then don't come back. Those are options. Okay. When someone reaches for a hug and you really don't want to give them a hug, fist bump. Fist bump because it acknowledge it's like it's a friendly way to say we're cool, but I don't want to hug you. When someone's just like fist bump, fist bump, because it lets you know I don't want to hug you. And actually, that happened to me recently. There was someone that's kind of high up there in the city. He holds an elected official position, and I know him from a couple years back. And I just remember being in this area where people of his caliber would be. He was almost kind of like apologetic for like ignoring some of my DMs on LinkedIn. He didn't have to respond, but he just kind of felt guilty, I could tell, because him and I do have some type of professional history or networking background. So he was like trying to introduce me to people and like make up for all that, ignoring he had done. And then he like reached for a hug the first time from the beginning I saw him. I gave him a little pat. And then the second time he wanted another hug. And I was just like, okay. But I gave it to him. And I realized I didn't need to do that. I could have just been like, it's good to see ya. Fist bump. Like, you already got the hug, dude. Like, you don't need any more. We're not together. I don't owe you a hug. You're a grown man. You're married. Like, we don't need to be doing that. None of that. Hugs are not warranted just because you reached for a hug. That makes sense. Let's recap. That was a lot. When someone asks you personal questions, you can do one of three things. Like, where do you work? You can lie. You can say you're a freelancer or a contractor, so they don't know exactly where you work. You can just say the industry and ask them what industry they work in. So that way they understand that they're being too nosy. Okay? When it comes up to giving out personal information like a phone number, whether it's someone that you're networking with or dating, you can either say, here's my business card. Use a number that has your professional line on there, whether it's your text now, your Google Voice number, or what have you, they can contact you there. But someone that's trying to date you or that they're expressing interest, you can say, maybe. Let's see how the rest of the night goes, and maybe we can exchange later. And smile.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
And even then, you can decide to still give out your text now or your Google Voice number, because you do not owe that person any extra information about yourself when they just met you 5 seconds ago. Or you can say no. You can say, actually, I don't really give out my number to people I just met. And if they say, well, how will we connect again? I'll take your number. Take his number. Let me get your number. And he might go like, well, you're not even really going to text me. Blah, 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 blah. That's your prerogative. And the last recap was for personal space. When someone is all up in your space physically, you can simply ask, excuse me, do you mind giving me a little bit more space? I feel really crunched. Thank you. Or if someone's talking your ear off and dumping and they're really close to you, or they won't shut up. They're not being mindful of the cues that you're giving them, like you're over it. That means now they're ignoring how you feel. That's when you say, I feel like you've been through a lot and I can tell this is really bothering you. I hope you feel better. Let's talk about something that's going to make you feel good. Especially if it's someone you do know, you also want to say this to them because you don't have to be the dumping ground. So it's asking for some more room and it's redirecting their attention. And if someone wants to reach for a hug and you don't want to give them a hug, fist bump. Because it feels like a friendly acknowledgement that I'm still acknowledging you, but this is where we land. Okay? I hope this was helpful. I remember leaving certain events feeling like I overshared, feeling like, why didn't I just say no? Why didn't I just ask for more space? Why did I give the hug 3 times when I didn't really want to? Why did I do that? The reality is that as women, people are, especially as young women, they're banking on you not knowing any better so they can get information out of you. And so for those of you who struggle with putting up a boundary, this video is for you. I hope you took notes because you deserve to decide what information about yourself you want to reveal, what you feel comfortable doing. That is your prerogative. It is yours. It is yours. It is yours. And you will feel much better and stronger after events, after parties, deciding what it is you want to share and what it is you don't want to share. Now that's taking back your power and being grounded in who you are. And that is what we teach people every single day. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comment section what kind of boundaries you're still struggling with. If you can relate to this, and even share this video with someone that you know is struggling with boundaries, okay? Because this is a thing across the board for a lot of people. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing and joining this whole tribe where we, step out of the matrix and honey into our divinity. Bye.